Hello, everyone. I hope everybody's feeling good and looking good. 'Cause shit, I know I am. My name is Grateful Queen, and welcome to my channel. Today, we will be covering memory and this phenomenon called Mandela Effect. I am currently in school. I'm finishing up my degree in psychology and philosophy, and my I have this big capstone coming up. This is my final semester, and I was literally racking my brain like, hey, what's a complex problem that I could use interdisciplinary studies, which in my case are psychology and philosophy, and how do I even approach that? Complex problems are, for example, socioeconomical problems, problems like, say, homelessness or, say, the economy, things that aren't just one factor things. And after, some searches and some just brainstorming, and I thought to myself, like, yo, use AI and see if we could come up with a couple of things that could use both of those. And I got a bunch of things, whether it was like the ethics behind lying, which I may do a video on. Let me know below if you are interested. But one of them stuck out to me, and it was our brain and how we perceive. And above that, how our memory serves, because our memory is fallible, aka it can be wrong. However, we depend on it every day, whether it's short term, whether it's long term memory. So today we're going to be talking about the Mandela effect. I'm going to be defining it and also giving a couple of examples that are widely recognized, literally pop culture. But before we start, let me go ahead and roll that intro video, and I'll be right back. And I'm back. All right, cool. So, first things first, have you ever been certain, convinced about a memory only to discover that you're completely wrong? Like, dead ass wrong. You're not alone. Welcome to the baffling world of the Mandela Effect. Now, that's where collective false memories just reveal how quirky your brain is. So let me go ahead and define what the Mandela Effect. First and foremost, it's not that old of a concept, really. It literally started in the early 1990s, I believe. Yeah. So the Mandela Effect is this crazy phenomenon where tons of people, usually like a majority of people, have a collective memory. So what does that mean? It's a term that a large group of people misremember a significant event or an object. Yeah. So for example, in 2010, vlogger Fiona Broom coined the term Mandela Effect after realizing thousands shared her false memory of Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s. So I believe it was a little earlier than that, maybe 2009 or ish. Yeah, 2009. So it's not even an old concept, but it spans all of time, right? So for example, that logo that you were convinced had a cornucopia, that logo that you were convinced was the instead of a, or even Pikachu. What's the color of his tail? So in reality, not only did he not pass in the 80s, but he passed in 2013. And this phenomenon isn't about lying. It's about our brains rewriting reality and really having this collective, like, oh yeah, I'm sure that I know that, or I'm sure that my memory is not failing me. So let's unravel some of these, right? So for example, the Berenstain Bears. Many swear that it's Berenstein with an E, but it's actually Stain with the A. The Monopoly Man. Do you remember him with a monocle or without one? He never had one. And even in my mind, I always thought, I was just like, yeah, that checks out, right? The Star Wars one. This is an infamous one because, again, so many people, this is a pop culture reference, of course, so many people recall that iconic scene. Darth Vader never said, "Luke, I am your father." The real line is, "No, I am your father. And then this one, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I Googled it yesterday. I was trying to research it yesterday. I am convinced that the Fruit of the Loom logo had a cornucopia. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you say. I recall it. I distinctly recall in the 90s that the logo had it, but but the company has actually issued press statements saying the logo never included that basket cornucopia. So, which one do you think is real? Do you have any that stick out to your mind? Please drop a comment below. So why do we even misremember? Your brain isn't a camera, it's a storyteller. So a lot of it is reconstructed memory. So for example, we'll take pieces and we'll take fragments and we'll fill in the gaps with guesses, or we'll think of, oh yeah, that makes sense. Misinformation effect. And that is when external information like memes after memories. So for example, there was a psychologist, and again, I was doing some research because I have this huge project due at the end of the semester. Psychologist Elizabeth Loftus, she proved this by implanting false car crash details in studies. This is really important because, for example, we depend so much on what our eyes and what our memories are telling us. So for example, whether it is with a witness, right, or with the car crash, say you have somebody and it's just like, oh, I saw this person running by me and they had a red coat. And then somebody right next to you that was was there during that quote unquote incident or experience is like, no, they had a hat. They had a gray coat. So even that's why they always say they separate witnesses when something happens, because they don't want them to confuse the actual details of the accident. It's not just for secrecy, but they actually don't want people to conflate what their recanting is. Confabulation, that's a good word. Your brain invents plausible details, convinced that they are true. Again, we're just filling in the blanks. Our mind works overtime. And then social reinforcement. When everyone remembers wrong, we doubt reality. So for example, all of those instances that I mentioned, those are moments where people just they have it cemented in their mind. Another one that is infamous is Sinbad. Sinbad in this quote unquote genie movie. But in actuality, it was Shaq. Shaq was in Kazam. And a lot of people remember them. That was a cheese ball. And a lot of people remember Sinbad in Shazam, which is crazy because I recall watching, obviously, the Shaq movie. And when I saw it online years ago, I was like, that kind of, that sounds right. But again, so much so that we're like, that can't be true. Literally 2 minutes ago, you heard me. I was convinced. I'm still convinced that the Fruit of the Loom has that basket. You can't tell me anything. But again, that's me and how my brain is perceiving it and saying, no, without a doubt, without fault. You know, this isn't trivia. It actually impacts real life. And eyewitness testimonies are often flawed. Personal memories shaped by time and talk, and understanding this keeps us humble and critical. And I do want to talk about this. I didn't even write this in my notes, but I wrote it in my thesis statement. Things like the Innocent Project. Those are massive repercussions that can cost someone their life. You know, people rewriting their experience or their memories, that can cost huge if there are stakes in there, and not just trivial things like branding or logo or name or what we recall, but when it comes to things like that, it could be on a huge scale. So some blame parallel universes colliding. Yeah, right. While that is sci-fi fun, science points to our fallible brains and still wondering the what if. So again, it is literally our brain manufacturing this. So next time that you are sure of a memory, pause, think about it, and check the facts. Remember, our brains and minds are imperfect and they are still amazing. So drop your Mandela Effect experiences below, hit subscribe, and keep exploring life's mysteries. So last but not least, I hope everybody's feeling good and looking good, because shit, I know I am. Until next time, please like, share, subscribe, comment if you have a Mandela effect or something that you are convinced that happened that really didn't happen. I'll check y'all out. Bye. I was about to delete this. Oh my God. See? Have a good one, y'all.